Well, what's up, y'all? So I am gonna go ahead and do a little story time because I know that's like what all the girlies want nowadays, right? They want to hear the cheese made. They want to hear the drama. They want to, love and hip hop. They want to hear about all of it. Drama sells. Coochies. No, let me not say that. I was gonna say drama sells. Coochies go to hell, but coochies run the world, even underworld. Anyways, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the story time of my old friend. We're gonna call her Tikii, okay? Tikii. I met Tikii and it was in the 5th grade. And now y'all know how, I don't know if y'all public school, you went to a public school, if a teacher was out and like they couldn't find a sub for the day, they would like split that teacher's class up, and they would like take a handful of students here, put it in this class, and the same thing on and on and on, right? So Tikii was the handful of kids that came to my class, and immediately I'm sitting down or whatever. Immediately she sits like right next to me. I'm like, okay, cool. I've always been very social, so I had no problem. I love to talk. If anything, I like to talk too much. But so Tikii sits next to me, and before we about to like get into work, I don't know what we were doing. It was 5th grade, so we probably, like math, times tables. No, that's like 2nd grade, but still, you get what I'm saying. So we're over here doing our little work or whatever, and Tikii got these nice crayons. Y'all remember the crayons with the little big old pack of crayons, right? And then it would have like a sharpener in the back. Y'all remember that, right? I used to hate on the bitches that had the fucking crayons with the sharpener in the back because I always wanted it. But it was like $10 for a box of crayons. My mama had 5 kids. She was not getting me no $10 box of crayons. So, I see Tikii with these nice ass crayons. I'm like, Tikii, I'm Aqua. It's nice to meet you. Can I use your crayons? Because I'm a little artist. I love to draw. I love to all that stuff, So Tikii like, yeah, girl, we using crayons. We over here drawing in class, not even paying attention to class, bro. We just drawing and coloring and stuff, right? So that's how me and Tikii met in 5th grade. Me and Tikii and our other friends, we went to all 3 schools. Like, we went to elementary school, middle school, and high school together. Well, I went to the same like school as them in elementary. I moved like schools a lot or whatever. High school and elementary school, I had the same school for middle school, but elementary school I was moving like a lot, so I was like school up north, school down here, school over there, school over there. Anyways, so Tikii was friends with my best friend. We're gonna call my old best friend Cheeks. No, we're gonna call her Sammy, because she reminds me of a Sammy. She was a sweet girl. She was just very she was just not mentally well, but it'd be like that. Anyway, so we're not talking about Sammy right now. We're talking about Tikii, because we got another story. We got different story times for Sammy. We got different story times for Cheeks. We got different story times for Tiki's and all the other friends, because the stuff that I done been through with some friends, like, I love having friends, but the friends I had in the past definitely keeps me away from making new friends, definitely. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, always do. I already want to use it to be okay. All right, so I got a little Meg playing in my ear because, like I said earlier, I don't want to get copyrighted. That's kind of cute. Oh no, not like that. Like that. Okay. Anyways, so me and Tikii had all like pretty much the same friends. Like, we had a lot of similar friends together all through like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, freshman year of college. Like, we had a lot of the same friends. But weren't close in 5th grade, like elementary school. We just met in elementary school and we like knew each other. We didn't become like friends until like, I want to say like, we still weren't even like friends, but we didn't like start hanging around each other until like 7th grade or something like that, because Sammy, my friend, she was like really close with Tikii and Cheeks. And I'm calling Sammy because she was sweet. I'm calling Cheeks because she was an ass. And I'm calling Tikii. I don't know. That name is just kind of cute. Still, fuck Tikii. Fuck all of them except for, well, Sammy is like fuck you, but with love. Sammy and Tikii is like, y'all can go fucking choke, get ran over by a bus, you know? So Tikii, we didn't start getting like close or like hanging out often until, cause okay, so Sammy, her mama was like really never home, because like she was like a nurse or something like that, so she was always working, right? So Sammy invited us to her house a few times. Like I always used to go to Sammy's house because Sammy was my best friend. So like I used to always be at Sammy's house, like always at Sammy's place. But like one day Sammy was like, hey, I want to invite all my friends or whatever. You cool with me inviting all my friends? And I'm like, yeah, Sammy, you know, you're my girl. Your friends should be my girl too. That's cool. I'm cool with that. So Sammy invites like 2 girls that we went to school with. I was also friends with them, but like ain't no bad blood with none of them. They were okay people, just not friends with them anymore. But she also invited Cheeks and Tikii. And so after having that sleep or whatever, Cheeks and Tikii was like, oh, you know, I kind of mess with you, you kind of cool, blah, 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 blah. Next thing I know, like a little while later or whatever, I think this is like 8th grade or whatever, or like over the summer. I just know it wasn't like too long after. But Cheeks, she invited a bunch of us to like sleep over at her house. So we all like started hanging out at Sammy's house because she invited us to sleep over a couple times and all hang out, right? And that's how I got introduced to Sammy's friends. Then Cheeks is like, okay, I want y'all to come to my house. I want to have a sleepover. And I was like, okay, cool. So shoot, I'm invited. Like, you know, so they invited me too because apparently they liked me. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. Like I said before, I'm very social. So like I was excited to go to another sleepover, you know, especially like with me only hanging out with like Sammy for real. I was like excited to make new friends or whatever. So I started going to sleepovers at Cheeks' house, and Tikii will always be there because Tikii and Cheeks were like, they were hood cousins. Y'all know what that is, right? Like where if you knew each other since like little kids, that's your cousin. That's she your auntie. That's your uncle. That's your brother. Like, you know how hood cousins work. So they were hood cousins. They knew each other like since like literally like toddler age, right? So, and later on they threw that in my face a lot. Definitely made me, anyways. So at Cheeks' house, like during the sleepover, whatever, we all started getting like real close. You know how like, you know, if you ever been to a sleepover as like a young girl, you guys like trauma bond a lot. Y'all start talking about your life and all that. So we over here, you know, being grillies, trauma bonding, prank calling, playing dress up, doing each other's, like literally just what you would do at a sleepover. And I'm having like the time of my life. So so we all chilling at Sammy's. Next thing I know, it became like a very, no, not Sammy's, I'm sorry, at Cheeks. Next thing I know, it becomes a very like regular thing. Like I'm always at Sammy's house with girls like every weekend, you know? And so I considered them my friends at that point because I was always seeing them like almost every weekend, like all the time. Fast forward, oh, okay, no, not fast forward. So even though we were always going into Cheeks' house as like a sleepover or whatever, eventually we did start hanging out like outside of school and all that, like going to the movies together as like, you know, friend groups and all that, going out to eat friend groups, going to like football and basketball games friend groups, especially when we got to high school. So fast forward to high school though. At this point, I'm not like mad cool with them. I'm not like real close with them, But like, I know these girls, you know, like we go to school together. They friends with my friends. They're like a little bit my friends. Like if you say, oh, your friend, blah, 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 I'm not gonna be like, oh no, that's not my friend. Cause you know, like we was always hanging out, but we didn't like start hanging out all the time until high school because Sammy, my best friend. Okay, so y'all know how in the morning when schools, like the buses, they drop off all the kids bright and early in the morning. It was to be like dark outside back in high school. They would lead like all the students into the either the cafeteria for breakfast or into like the gym, you know, just to like hang out there until classes are like the bell rings and then classes are called back or whatever. So Tiki's bus was like in the same zone as me. So like Tikii and Cheeks, our buses, we weren't on the same bus, but our buses were all like in the same like districts, like not district, the same zone or whatever. So like our bus will be like back to back to back. So like I will always walk in with them, or like they'll come a little earlier than me and I will meet them in the gym or whatever. And my friend Sammy, her bus was like, she lived in a different zone, so her bus was always like mad late, like to the point where like we wouldn't even see her in the morning for real, you know. So because we didn't really see her in the morning for real, and I didn't really have no friends like my own in high school yet, so I would kind of just like sit with them because like, you know, I kind of knew them or whatever, blah blah blah. I would sit like with Tikii and Cheeks. That's how we started becoming like closer friends or whatever. They started inviting me out more and to do things with them, like high school football games and all that. And, you know, I'm hanging out with them, blah 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 blah. We did a lot of stuff together. We were like real, once we hit like high school, we started hanging out with each other like separately, or even as like just us three, me, Cheeks, and Tikii. A lot of times it was just us three, like because I don't know what Sammy was doing, but Sammy was pretty busy a lot, or she'll like be in trouble a lot because she got in a lot of trouble. Her mom will always like, you know, put her on punishment or some shit like that. Or she also had 2 younger siblings, and her mom would always like make her stay home to watch the younger kids or whatever. So Sammy couldn't hang out a lot with us for real. So I started hanging out with Tikii and Cheeks a lot. So we became like really, really close, like the 3 musketeers, right? And then me and Cheeks started becoming like very close too, where she considered me her best friend, even though like, well, okay, I guess I could consider her my best friend, but it was one of those things where like, you know, they're like, oh, you're my best friend. So I'm like, okay, I guess you're my best friend. So it was kind of one of those things or whatever. So we were always together, mad close. But after high school, me and Tikii started hanging out like just each other a lot because we went to the same college. Like we went to the same community college, so we were like kind of just always around each other, right? Cheeks actually started getting real jealous about that or whatever, and they had this weird thing going on. Even though we were like the 3 musketeers, like it was so weird because one second they're like, oh, you know, you're like family, we love you, like I will always be at their parents' house. Like I would call Tiki's mom my mom. I'd be like, hey ma, what's up ma? You know, like we was real close. Like we were just very close. I actually felt like family. They would like sometimes refer to me like as like a sister, you know, just someone real close, like family. Like even their parents used to be like, oh, you know, that's family, blah blah blah. So they will always like refer to me as family. So I'm like, okay, you know, we mad close, we mad cool, our family. We can, right? So one second they're like that, right? The next second, let me mention something. Okay, so Tikii was definitely the ringleader, right? She was one of those people. She's a Cancer, if that matters to any of you zodiac girlies out there, because like I'm not like huge on zodiacs, but like I know a little bit about Cancers, right? Cancers are known to be like very emotional and like manipulative, right? That was Tikii. Okay, Tikii was very emotional and manipulative. And I don't mean like crybaby emotional. I mean like she was just like, she like, okay, so if she was like mad, her mad was amplified. If she was sad, her sad was amplified. It was just, she was just like highly dramatic, low key. But so, and Tikii was also very manipulative, especially towards me. Don't know what's the psychology behind that. I'm not about to overhear and psychoanalyze this girl and tell y'all this and that. But I had a lot of people in my ear telling me about her, like why she treated me like that. Like if I would go to my other friends or I mentioned to my mom, like, you know, like me and Tikii going through this again, like, you know, blah 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 blah. People would mention to me like, you know, the Tikii might just, you know, be a little, I hate to use it, but like jealous of you in certain aspects. And I didn't like thinking of that because I'm not gonna lie, I have always been pretty naive. Like, I'm not dumb, don't get it twisted, but I can be pretty naive. And even still, like now, there are some cases where I'm like very naive, like because I don't really think negative for real, and I've never really been a negative thinking person. So like if somebody, like if me and Tikii going through it, I'm like, oh, Tikii just upset with me, like I, you know, like, oh, what did I do? Like, and I always felt like it was my fault, even though when I think about it and I'm older now, most of the time it wasn't my fault. Like Tikii has some things that she needed to work out with herself that she would project onto me. But anyways, we're gonna move on. Well, actually, we'll come back to that because I have a couple of theories that I came up with. I'm not letting other people talk in my ear, but like some theories that I came up with. But Tikii would always, it was weird because it was like she was like, I don't want to say bipolar, but it's just like 1 second we're good and then like the next week she not talking to me or she like ghosted me, and I'm like, you mad? Like, what's going on? We good? And then she will always like complain about me. She'd be like, well, you always do this, you always do that, you're this, you're selfish. I remember this one time she called me like toxic and evil, and that truly hurt my feelings because like I had to sit back and think, like, because I'm also one of those people, I'm very self-aware of myself, and it's not like, oh, other people's opinions, I'm gonna like take that and, you know, like try to fix myself based on what they said. But I am very like, oh, this has been mentioned from this person, like I'm hearing this about myself quite a few times from different people, different perspectives. Maybe I do need to step back out of myself and, you know, like see what's up, see if it is like an actual problem, and maybe work on myself, because maybe that's something I have to work on for myself, right? But like Tikii will always do something like that, be like, you this, you that, and just stuff that like I knew wasn't true about myself, and also I never heard from anybody else. So I'm like, why are you like, you just happen to be the only person that I got like these issues with. So I'll always, in the beginning it was more so like, you know, like, oh, Tikii's mad at me, I wonder why. And I would put the blame on myself because I used to be like, you know, what did I do? What's wrong? Like, what did I do wrong? Can I fix it? I was a people pleaser, but not in like the normal way people are people pleaser. It's just, I hate when people are unhappy around me, and I hate when I am unhappy. I just hate negative feeling, negative thoughts, negative energy, like anything negative. Like truly, I have not the mind of a child, but I like to look out at the world as if it's rainbows and pony shit of fucking cotton candy everywhere, you know? Like, I like to be all jolly and happy up there. But, and with that, that's why I said, like, I was naive but not dumb, because Tikii would play off that a lot. Like, I wasn't innocent, but I definitely was very, not pure, but just, you know what I'm saying. Like, I was just very, you know, like, la-di-da-di-da, you know, like in my own world. I'm a Pisces. I'm very daydreamy, and I know what y'all gonna say. Okay? So don't start with it, because I know Pisces are supposed to be manipulative, and they're supposed to be the ones that gaslight, but I promise y'all, I ain't that Pisces. Well, I could be, but I don't be. I really don't be. It's been a few times where I had some cases where people pushed me to the limit and I did act out of character, but that's not me. So, Tikii will always have these issues with me, have me thinking, oh, what's wrong with me? But eventually, honestly, after like a couple years, I was like, maybe this was toxic, but I was just like, yeah, like whatever she would say about me, it would kind of like go in one ear, out the other. Because at this point, I'm just like, yo, you just bullying me at this point. Like, because I really wasn't like doing shit for real. Like, I would really just be chilling. Like, let me try to think of an example. Like, I don't know. I can't even explain it. Now, I will say, though, I was kind of annoying, but not like, oh, she grimy, she dirty, like she messed up annoying. No, like, I was, like, just, like, energetic. I was, like, very, like, daydreamy, you know, like, ADD, ADHD, like, just kind of all over the place and, like, always full of energy. So, like, when some of the girlies, like, at a sleepover or something like that, say the girlies is all day, like, they winding down or whatever, and they don't want to do nothing for real. I want to, you know, I'm like, and they like, oh my gosh, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, okay, chill, damn. You know, so I am very all over the place. But Tikii will always make me feel bad about myself. And one thing, Tikii and Cheeks, because like I mentioned before, Tikii was the ringleader, and Cheeks and like a couple of our other friends, they would be like, not under like Tiki's spell, but like they would just always like kind of like follow her and do what she said and stuff like that. And me, I've never been that girl. I've never been that girl. Like, I'd literally rather wander the earth alone than be your follower, because I'm gonna be so for real. My God complex ever since I was a child, extremely high. Like, I don't want to be ruler over all these people, but you're not about to tell me how to rule my own kingdom. Okay? So, but like, that was the thing with Tikii. Tikii was so manipulative, and she like needed things to go her way, and she just felt like she was always right and smarter and better than other people. So like, because I was that girl who was not about to listen to what Tikii say, or like if everybody, okay, say for example, because this happened a lot, like a lot. We would be making plans, right? And some friends would be like, well, some of us will mention, oh, okay, we want to go to the movies. Tikii and maybe like another person will be like, oh, okay, well, we want to go out to eat. And then like, what the fuck? The ground is shaking, but maybe it's the dryer or some shit like that. I'm not gonna worry about that too much. But anyways, oh no, okay, I like that. That's a cute song. Anyways, so Tikii would be like, oh, well, I want to go out to eat, so I'm not doing anything. Like, I'm not going nowhere if we're not going out to eat, because I don't want to go to the movies. So like, and then everybody else would be like, okay, well, we'll just go out to eat then. We'll just all go out to eat. We won't go to the movies. And then me personally, I'd be like, but we said we wanted to go to the movies, or why can't we do both? Or majority rules, 4 of us said we wanted to go to the movies. 2 of y'all said y'all wanted to go out to eat. Why y'all get, because Tikii said so? So I will always kind of like, I feel like that's why me and Tikii clashed a lot, because Tikii was always trying to be the boss, and I was always just not listening. So it would be a lot of cases where that was like, where that happened or whatever. Me and her would argue, fight, clash a lot because of that, because I was just like, just because you say it, I'm not about to do it. So we clashed a lot with that. But don't get me wrong, y'all. Me and Tikii, even though we was always like, especially towards the end of our friendship, like last couple of years of our friendship, me and Tikii were like always fighting and arguing. Not physically fighting, because she ain't ever want to see me. I got a story time about that too, but that's gonna be another story time, because that one actually got kind of juicy. Definitely got out of character, but it was a character that I did not mind seeing. I don't want to see often, but I did not mind seeing, you know? So eventually, even though we're like always arguing, always fighting, we still were like very close. We were like sisters, like, you know, and like in a lot of ways I felt like we like fought like sisters too. That's why I never really thought it was like a serious problem, because I thought these girls was my sisters. So I'm like, I know I argue with my actual blood sister. So, well, actually, I didn't even really argue with my blood sister for real. But, you know, like, when we did argue, it was very stupid stuff that would just, you know. But with Tikii, a lot of our arguments, it would be stupid stuff where we would argue, but then we would, like, get over it in a few days. But there were some cases where, like, Tikii is just very stubborn, and if it does not go her way, it's just not it. Like, and I'm not big on apologizing, especially if I feel like I did nothing wrong. So, even though we were really close, we did fight a lot. But then, you know, one second we're over here, buddy. Like, we had this ritual where we would, like, like on a random day that, like, we didn't really have anything to do, like, at all. We would, like, early in the morning, we hit each other up and be like, okay, so what you want to do today? And then she'll be like, okay, well, I want to go out to eat. And I'm like, okay, cool. I want to go out to eat too. And then I'm like, I want to get high. And she like, well, I want to get high too. So we will always do this thing where we wake up, hit each other up, and then, like, maybe like early afternoon, I was always like, most of the time it was me pulling up, which I have no problem with. I don't really like people coming to my house anyways. But most of the time I will pull up to her crib or whatever, and, you know, like, we'll kind of like get ready at her place or whatever. Or if we're already ready, we'll just chill there for a little bit, roll out a little later. And like afternoonish, we'll pick up from the you know, and we would, you know, do our little, you know, our little session in her car. We would box and hot. We was boxing hot, and we would go to this buffet, this Chinese buffet we always used to go to. Because I swear, y'all, one of my favorite things is getting smacked and then going to like a buffet. Well, one of my old favorite things. Because now that ain't no shit with me like I used to. I wouldn't mind doing it every once in a while, like a very, like, you know, maybe like a couple times a year type of thing. But we used to do this thing kind of often, like once a month type. Oof. Anyways, so eventually, well, not eventually, but we would go to the restaurant after being like schmacked, and okay, all right. But anyways, we would go to the restaurant after being smacked, and if you go into a Chinese buffet, I'm not suggesting it, y'all, but I'm just saying, if you do it, let me know how that goes, okay? Because I'm telling you, it's, for me, it was a really fun experience. You go inside smacked, all the food looks like Studio Ghibli food. Like, the food never looks so scrumdiddly-icious ever until that moment. So we used to do that, and we would like spend like 4 hours there, kind of like just smacks AF, and just eating food and like watching YouTube videos. Or we would even like prop our phones up and like watch movies there. I know like the waitress, they hated us low key, but not for real, because like we would go on days where it wasn't like too busy, and, you know, kind of just chill there. And we would tip, you know, and we would still like eat a decent amount or whatever. There was no time limit, whatever. It was got to a point where there was this one waiter. He like became our little mini friend or whatever, because we would go there and he would always end up being our waiter. I guess they figured that like we were cool or whatever, so they started putting us like in his section whenever we came, and we would all three of us just be chatting up, ha 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 ha, and, you know, he's our waiter, blah blah blah. So me and Tikii would do fun things like that a lot. Like, me and Tikii had a lot of fun times together. I think honestly that's why it took me so long to like realize that our friendship was not healthy, it was not okay, and I no longer needed to be in that friendship. Now, I'm not saying she is like the worst person on the planet. I just don't think we are good for each other. Because even though I know and I truly feel like most of the time I did nothing wrong, if it was affecting her for real, then I don't want her to keep hurting from things that I'm doing, especially if it's something that I'm not willing to change because I don't think is wrong. Now, same thing with her. The things she would do to me, which I know for a fact was wrong, because when I tell people, they're like, nah, that was like, you was friends with her? And I'm like, yeah. Tikii also had this weird thing. Like, I remember this one time we became friends with this other group of girls or whatever through like a cordial friend, well, a mutual friend. And me and one of the girls in the friend group, we started like kind of like messing around with each other, you know, like getting real close with each other. And Tikii would always be really weird about it. She will always, and that's another thing. She was one of those people, like, if I was to go hang out with friends, she would be so mad at me and so jealous and just be like, oh, so you weren't going to invite me? Or, oh, you're mad fake, you're mad wild. But then she in, like, I don't know, bum freak Texas with her group of friends, not telling me nothing, even on times where we had something scheduled. You know what I mean? Like, she was just like, if it wasn't her way, it wasn't right. And if I did what she did, which is not wrong. If you have other friends, go hang out with your other friends. If you got a friend telling you you can't go hang out with your other friends and she getting like mad jealous, that's not cute. Like, I be seeing TikToks on that. Like, oh, like when my best friend, blah, blah, blah. No. Let her live her life. Now, also don't be fake, but like, let her live her life. She got other friends. Let her have those other friends. You don't always have to be joined at the hip, you know? Anyways, so she would just be like real mad at me when I would hang out with these girls, to the point where it became like, she became like very jealous. And Tikii had this thing, Tikii and Cheeks, they loved talking about me behind my back. And back then, that used to be one of the things that got me out of character. If I found out someone, like a friend, like a really, because if it was somebody else, I didn't really care for real. But like a close friend of mine, like my homegirl, my sister, like if they're like talking about me, that used to really make me act out of character, because I'm like, I'm your girl and I don't do that to you for real. So why are you over here like telling them stuff that I told you in secrecy, and stuff that you know is something that they shouldn't know? Like, I would, and to this day, I never expose secrets after being friends or when we argue with each other. Like, I've never exposed secrets. I've never like just did this and that, blah, blah. Well, let me not say never, because I think there actually was a couple times, but not like detailed secrets, or not like something like other people wouldn't know for real. You know what I mean? But like, they would like go deep into my secrets. Like, they would expose everything, like family life, relationships, guilty pleasures. Like, literally, they would literally sell my story. Like, they would sell my story for not even money, because apparently they, anyways, so eventually, after a while, I remember, especially now that I started hanging out with this like other group of friends, I started realizing that like, friends not supposed to really treat each other like that, you know? So I'm like, I'm gonna take some time away from Tikii. So I started taking time away from Tikii, especially because there was another thing. Me and Tikii were very close, so of course we knew like almost everything about each other, almost everything we were doing. And Tikii got her first real boyfriend, okay? And y'all know how girls get, especially if they are kind of like boy crazy girls. You know how they get. Like, I'm boy crazy, but I don't like men enough to treat my friends differently. You know what I mean? Like, I actually barely like men. Like, they really aggravate the shit out of me, you know? But anyways, like, I still like to fuck them up. But anyways, so Tikii got a boyfriend. It was her, I think I like we were like 19 or 20, something like that, not too long ago, because I'm 21 right now. Well, You know what? I'm gonna say no, no, we were 19. We were 19. We were 19. So Tikii got this boyfriend, her first real boyfriend, like first guy to be like, oh no, I want to be with you. You're my girl, blah, blah, blah. And in the beginning, Tikii would have me like, oh no, because we stopped being friends. We broke up twice, like major breakup twice, right? This was before I met her boyfriend. I started hanging out with this group of girls, like the girls that we started being cool with through that mutual friend or whatever. They like took a really like deep liking to me, and those also became some real close people to me. I also got story times for them too, like a separate story time. But that's something that's gonna be way down later in the road, because that was some crazy stuff. But like on multiple occasions. I mean, anyways. So Tikii would be really, Tikii and Cheeks, but Tikii especially, because Cheeks would be mad, but it would be like, oh, you fake mad. Tikii would be mad, and it would be like, oh, you fake mad. But it'd be like it'd be low key. I'm not gonna say this for real, but take it with a grain of salt. This is just how I felt about the situation. I feel like Tikii had like a crush on me, but she just didn't really know what it was for real. Like, we both didn't really know what it was for real. But when I think about back to these things, I'm like, okay, people act like that when they got a little crushy crush, you know? But look at that jawline, god fucking damn. Anyways, so Tikii I started hanging out with these girls, started becoming real close with them, because I started realizing, you know, looking at all these other friendships, and honestly, that friendship wasn't that healthy either, but it was still like, it wasn't horrible. Like, it wasn't like mad toxic. It was a little crazy, but it wasn't mad toxic. Me and Tikii's relationship, mad toxic. So I'm looking at these other friendships with these other girls around the same age as us, and I'm like, Tikii, our relationship not supposed to be like this. Like, our bads aren't supposed to be this bad. So I started taking my time away from Tikii a little bit, like not cutting her off, but you know, like, instead of hanging out with her 6 days out of the week, because we spent a lot of time together, instead I would hang out with her like 3 times out the week, and then like 3 times out the week with my other friends, right? She did not like that at all. Next thing I know, I'm over here hearing my business go around the streets of Charlotte. I mean, like, business. Like, this guy I used to talk to, this other guy, like, just business, all my business. And I'm like, I know it's Tikii, because I would do this thing, like, I wasn't dumb, so I would do this thing where I would tell a couple of friends this, like, I chose what to say to certain friends, of course. Like Cheeks, I would tell Cheeks a couple of these things, because Cheeks would spread my business too, but she wouldn't, like, at least as far as I know, she wouldn't like spread my deep business, you know, like stuff where you gotta be effed up to share something like that, like trauma about somebody. Like, that's crazy. But Tikii had no problem with that. No problem. So I'm over here hearing my business that I only told Tikii all around Charlotte. So I'm at this point, I'm like, okay, I wasn't already feeling the friendship, because we keep getting in these arguments. My mom's telling me to cut it off, because even though we've been friends, and my biggest thing was, we've been friends since like middle school. Like, this is my girl. Like, we grew up together. I was huge on that. But like, my mom would be like, even though like y'all were friends for so long, some people just outgrow each other. Some people aren't meant for each other. And I did not want to accept that at the time, because I also had like this, I wouldn't say weird, but this very, maybe abnormal connection with Tikii. Like, me and Tikii had like a very deep, little abnormal, a little weird, might you say, connection. So anyways, so I'm falling back from her, blah, 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 hanging out with my other friends a whole lot, hearing all my business out in the streets. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I don't even want to be friends no more for real, because like not only have you been like bullying me, and when y'all, I'm not saying like, oh, she was putting her hands on me because she knew better. One thing I will say, I might be very sweet, very nice, but let's just say when that anger come out, just don't let it come out. So no, let me mention a thing. So Tikii would bully me, not physical, but because even things that I do now, I'm like, okay, I know that's because of Tikii. Like a lot of times, especially back then, I would be like, I kind of need reassurance. And I never really needed that growing up until I started hanging out with Tikii, because Tikii was constantly like putting me down, like all the time. I mean, all the time. Like if it wasn't about my parents, because I knew I wasn't like ugly, like I wasn't insecure about my face, but I was insecure about like everything else, like my hair, my body, my height at the time, even though I love my height now. I love being a stallion. But at the time, I was not. You know, I was a high school girl back in like the era where, you know, like 4'2" light skins with big old curly hair was popping. You know, I lived through that time, unfortunately. So, with that being said, I was not the most secure person on my looks. And Tikii would constantly like make comments about something. Like if she knew I was insecure about like, okay, so stupid, but I'm insecure about like my underarms, not like my armpits, but like my underarms. And she'll be like, you think that shirt's gonna look good with that? You like how that fits around that? Maybe you should wear this dress because that one might look good with it. And it'll be like a dress that completely has it exposed. And then like she would just do little shit to piss me off, and she would do it on purpose. She knew what she was doing, because she always, a lot of times, anyways. So constantly shit on my parents, constantly like. And another thing, I knew I wasn't dumb, but she would constantly make me feel like I was stupid, because she wasn't smarter than me, but she definitely, like, how do I explain it? Like, she was one of those people who thought they were a genius and try to mask with it. But you put that thing on paper, girl. I mean, she wasn't dumb, but like, we was literally like same classes, same grades for the most part. And not to shit on nobody, but I'm about to finish college. She was in college for a second. And I'm not saying if you drop out of college, you're stupid. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying things that she would have troubles with, like schoolwork, was stuff that I had no problem with. But she would constantly make me feel stupid about other situations. And I'm just like, girl, I know I'm not dumb, but you over here making me feel dumb. Now, I will say, I'm not stupid, but I can be slow. I can be a little slow. She would definitely play off that too. Like, she would talk to me sometimes like a child, like, oh, do you, like, I will punch you in your fucking face. Stop playing with me. So she would constantly like bully the shit out of me, especially in front of other people. She loved to do that. It was like, it got her off to see me like embarrassed in front of other people. But anyways, so after a while, I'm like, nah, I don't want this friendship. Especially when I heard my business out in the streets and I know it came from her. So I remember this one time when I was at my friend's house, those other girls, Tikii like hit me up and she was like, where you at? And I was like, I'm at so-and-so house. Why? And Tikii was like, no, Cheeks. Because Tikii was also very like she'll talk crap about me, but she didn't really say it to my face too much. Like if she was treating me badly, it was a lot like nitpicking, saying it behind my back, or it'd be like to my face, but not using the words, kind of hinting at stuff. You know what I mean? Where like I know what she's doing, but she won't say it and she won't admit to it. But anyways, so Where was I? Fuck, I gotta edit this. Tikii, 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 Tikii. Y'all know that SpongeBob episode. But anyways, so I'm like, I'm at so-and-so house, and she's like, okay, cool. Me and Cheeks about to pull up. And Cheeks is very vocal. Like, she was very like, if she got a problem with you, she gonna tell you she got a problem with you. So Tikii, like, I know Tikii upset with me, but Cheeks is with her, and Cheeks is like, I got a problem with you. So I'm like, okay, y'all got a problem. Come see me. Let's talk about this problem. Because I wasn't one for fighting. Like, I ain't never been scared for nobody. Like, scared of nobody. Like, if somebody wanted to fight, we gonna fight. But I was never the one to be like, oh, like, I didn't care for real. So I'm like, okay, Tikii and Cheeks, you got a problem, pull up at so-and-so house and let's talk about it. And that's exactly what they did. But apparently they planned something beforehand, like on the drive over here. Not to like fight me or nothing, because also they both know better. Like, Cheeks is like a 6'1", 6'2", like big girl. And at the time I was like 5'9", 5'8", and I wasn't like skinny, but I wasn't like, I was chubby, but not like big body. I was bigger than Tikii, but smaller than Cheeks. But even Cheeks, I wasn't scared of Cheeks. They knew like I was about that. They knew at the end of the day, I'm gonna beat ass if I got to, you know? So they knew not to test me physically. So they planned something or whatever, not physically, but planned something. So when they pull up, I see that Cheeks walks through the door. And I'm like, Cheeks, where's Tikii? And Cheeks is like, oh, what's up? Tikii downstairs in the car. She wants you to come downstairs so y'all can talk. So I'm like, you know, that's cool. Okay, we'll have a little one-on-one time. So I go downstairs to go talk to Tikii, get in the car. Tiki's like acting a little like a little weird, kind of just a little quiet, you know, standoffish, not really wanting to say nothing for real. And I'm just kind of there like, you want to talk to me? What's up? So I'm in the car. We start talking or whatever. And it's like, she's like kind of doing small talk. And one thing about me, especially if I have something on my mind and we got something to talk about, I'm not talking about small talk. We're not doing that. So like almost immediately, I'm like, okay, so we ain't come here for that. Let's talk about what we came here for. And so she's like, okay, let's talk about it. So we start talking about it. I'm telling her how just like, I don't like the way she treats me. And I know there was something else that we were like going through at the time that I brought up, but I cannot remember for the life of me right now. If I can remember, I'm gonna do a little edit, be like blah 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 blah. You know, I can't remember right now. But anyways, so I'm just pretty much telling her how I feel. I'm like, I don't like the way you treat me. I don't like the way you pretty much bully me. And honestly, I just don't like how our friendship is right now. And she's like trying to like, she's like saying she hear me, but she's also not like, she's not accepting that she's done anything to me. She's like, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I just know, like, I didn't do this. Like, not I didn't do this, but she was just like, I hear you. I hear you. But then she would, okay. She'd be like, I hear you. I hear you. But then she'll be like, I didn't. She was like, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. Or I'm sorry you thought that. No, there you go. She'd be like, I'm sorry you thought that. And she'd be like, but you did this, you did this, you did this. And this was, when she was saying you did this, you did this, most of the stuff she was saying, I was not doing. Like, and I know I was not doing. Like, I know I can be a little, like, you know, airheady and out of it a lot. But I know for a fact I was not doing that. Like I mentioned before, I'm very self-aware. I know what I'm doing. So she was like, you know, blah, 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 blah. Like, we came to talk about the issue that we had or whatever. And I wanted to tell her, like, how I was feeling. Because she was telling all of... Did I already disclose my location? You know what? I did. And if anybody got problems with me and y'all want to pull up, then that's your problem. You don't know where I live. Okay? But if you happen to figure it out where, that's cool. You know where I'm at. You know my name. Come on. Anyway, so Tikii, she kind of like just trying to throw blame back on me. She's like, I hear you, but then continues to blame me for everything. So I'm like, eventually I'm like I don't even want to hear this no more. So I'm like, Tikii, I just don't think we should be friends anymore. And she's like, at this point now, she's like, not like begging to be friends, but she's like trying to like talk me out of not being friends. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I don't want to be friends anymore. And eventually she's like, okay, I understand. And I left the car after that. And she seemed like she was okay, right? So I go upstairs or whatever. And Cheeks goes downstairs. And Cheeks come back upstairs a little bit later. And she's like, where Tikii? And I was like, what you mean where Tikii? Tikii downstairs where I left her. Where you? So she like, no, she not. And I'm like, I mean, I left her there. Then she calls Cheeks. No, she calls Tikii. Cheeks calls Tikii. And Tikii at first was not trying to answer, like, at all. So then we call her, like, we calling her brother and stuff like that. And the brother, he's like, nah, I didn't speak to, sorry, y'all, I'm trying to play with my hair a little bit. Anyways, he like, nah, I didn't speak to Tikii. Why? What's wrong with Tikii? And so Cheeks is kind of on the phone telling what's going on or whatever. And Cheeks had this thing also because Tikii is like her cousin and the ringleader. Of course, everything is my fault. So Tiki's explaining on the phone, and she's like, oh, well, Aqua said this and that and that. Because I told Tikii I told Cheeks what I said when I got up there because they want to know what happened, and I told them what happened. And I am not a liar. Like, I lie about little shit. Like, you know, like, you be like, oh, Aqua, how much money you got? I got $10 in my pocket. I'm gonna be like, I got $9. You know, like, I just be fucking around. But then, like, 99% of the time, I'll be like, I'm just fucking with you. I don't know why I said that. I got 10. But anyways, I almost, like, rarely, like, almost never lie about no serious shit. Like, I'm not out here just lying, you know? So I'm over here like, no, that's not, like, at this point, Cheeks is, like, blaming everything on me. And she's kind of, like, twisting my words a little bit. And I'm like, no, that's, no. So she on the phone with the brother or whatever. And I'm like, no. This is what happened, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm telling what happened or whatever. And Cheeks is like, I'm like, anyways. So the brother is like, dang, Aqua, what you do? Because the brother, he's mad chill. He's a cool guy or whatever. Like, he know our issues, but you know, that's his sister. He's still going, you know, be on her side or whatever. But at the same time, he know me. He know I'm not all mellowed out and dramaed out, especially not like these other girls. So he's like, dang, Aqua, what you do? And also, he don't care. He's a guy. He don't fucking care. But, so he like, nah, I don't know where she at, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna call y'all back, though. I'm gonna call her, see where she at. And she wasn't answering him or whatever. She ends up calling Cheeks back. And she's like crying hardcore. And like hyperventilating and just like, you know, doing the theatrics on the phone. And for a good second, she is not talking, right? So all of the friends and everybody, they're kind of just looking around. And they're all looking at the phone and they're just like, we can't hear you. What's going on? You have to talk to us. And they're just like, and I'm over here like, so she's still crying. Like, it's like a good 2 minutes of her literally just and crying. And I'm not over here trying to downplay her feelings or anything or like that, or be like, oh, panic attacks are not for real, or, you know, she wasn't having a panic attack for real. But like, y'all, if y'all heard that phone call, y'all could understand all the way to the theatrics, especially considering how, like, literally just like a few minutes ago we were downstairs and you were chilling. Why are you putting on this show once they call you back? Like, what are you doing? So they start so they're still worried or whatever. They're still like, oh, you know, trying to calm her down. They're like, oh, Tikii, talk to us, blah, 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 blah. And Tiki's like, eventually she's like talking, but she's like still like putting like a few words in, not making like actual sentences or whatever, right? And eventually she's like, you know, I'm here, like at her, like she's like saying her location, and she was like in the park, excuse me, she's like in the parking lot of like some building, some store, whatever, that we all know. Like if you from where we from, you know. So we like, okay, cool, we about to go over there. And then I didn't want to go, but Cheeks is like, you did this, so you're coming. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go. You know, I'll help calm her down or whatever. So I go with all of them. Well, not all of them. No, it was just me and Cheeks who rode out. And of course they forced me to drive. So I'm driving with Cheeks or whatever, and we're driving around or whatever. And the place she told us originally, no, because she didn't tell us her location yet. She was just crying and doing all that, right? And then she hung up. And then that's when we went downstairs, and Cheeks was like, you're coming, let's go. So I'm taking my car, and we're driving like all around our area, literally looking for this girl, like all of the spots. We even pull up to her house, and the uncle and the brothers outside, they like, blah, 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 blah. Where's Tikii, blah, blah, blah. And we was like, we don't know, we about to find her. No, we don't pull up to her house. What am I saying? I'm gonna edit all this out, because like, it happened, but it happened so long ago, and honestly, I ain't really care for real. So a lot of it's not ingrained in my head, like a lot. I gotta think about it. Anyway, so going back a little bit. So we get in the car, we go down there, Cheeks blowing up her phone, and then she'll like, Tikii would answer, but she'll like do the whole crying thing again, say a couple words, and then hang up again. And she did this like 3 or 4 times, right? So eventually she ends up like telling us the location after we've already been driving around Charlotte for a little bit, right? And then finally we pull up to this building that she was at, that everybody knows where it's at, blah, blah, blah. And she's in the car, and she's like still crying out, hyperventilating. And Cheeks is like, I'll be right back. And I'm like, okay. Because I didn't want to get out in the first place. I didn't want to even be there, to be real with y'all. Because like, y'all, I was just so fed up at the point where I'm just like, you did all this to me. I talked to you about it. I tell you how I feel about it. And then you go play the victim and have all these people worried about you. So, her brother and her uncle did end up pulling up to the building, because we told them where we was and all that. They come, and they're all like, all 3 of them are out there trying to calm her down, blah, 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 blah. I'm still in the car because I don't want to deal with it. And then the brother comes up to me, and he's like, Aqua, what's going on? Like, you know, tell me something. And I'm like, bruh, this is what happened. This is where we at. That's it. And he like, oh, bro, that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, that is crazy, isn't it? So he walked back, because her brother is a fucking goof. But anyways, he walks back, and, you know, he's like just trying to comfort his sister, blah, 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 blah. Then Cheeks comes up to me, and she's like, you need to get out the car and come calm her down. And I'm like, but I don't want to. And she's like, you need to. You did this, so you need to calm her down. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna come calm her down, see what happens. So I get out the car, and I'm like, Tikii, even though what I said, I meant what I said. But I'm sorry that, like, I did hurt your feelings. Because, like, when I actually saw her, I was like, okay, maybe I did really hurt her feelings. Maybe this isn't all for show, right? Even though I still, like, now I think, no, that was for show. But, so I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings. But I still don't want to be friends. And she's still hyperventilating. And Cheeks is like, why would you say that? And I'm like, what, say the truth? Like, I'm not about to say, oh no, I didn't mean what I said, I want to be friends. No, because we're not friends for a reason. I'm tired of you treating me like shit, bruh. Like, no. So, she still wasn't completely calmed down. Her uncle and her cousin, I mean, her brother did get to calm her down a little bit. They ended up driving her, like, I think, like, one of them ended up driving, like, her car with her in it to take her back home. and like the brother drove the car that they came in, the uncle and the brother came in with, right? So like they take the cars and they go back home, and then Cheeks is like, drop me off. And I'm like, I ain't gotta do shit, but I am gonna drop you off because you literally right down the street, and I'm trying to go back to my friend's house and pick up on what we was doing. Because before they even showed up to a night that they were not invited to, me and my friends, we was having a good old jolly time. And then they come up here with this boom boom, and I'm like, I want to go back to my friends and enjoy my time. So I'm like, I'm gonna drop you off. She gets on the phone with our mutual friend, and he like, dang, what's going on, y'all? Like, what's going on? I'm hearing all this. What's going on? And then Cheeks is like, well, Aqua did this, that, and this, that. And I was like, no, Aqua ain't do this, that, and this, and that. Aqua said she didn't want to be friends with Tikii no more because it's just not it no more. The friendship just not it. Don't want to be friends no more. And he like, oh, dang, that's crazy, man. And I'm like, yeah. And she like, and Cheeks, it pissed me off so bad because like they were all like so feeling so sorry for her and so sad for her, and like none of them thought, oh, Aqua just broke up with her long-term friend too. Like, it's like nobody cared what Aqua thought, but like because Aqua wasn't over here shitting her pants and crying, then we all going shit on Aqua. And I'm like, y'all not about to shit on me. So Cheeks is over here trying to like, she's like, not even trying to convince me. She's like telling me, you have to be friends with Tikii. And I was like, I ain't gotta do shit. So with that being said, we going back and forth, and she's like, no, you need to be friends with Tikii because we still friends, all of us still friends, and we can't go hang out with Tikii and then not hang out with you, or go hang out with you and then not go hang out with Tikii. Like, we all have to be friends. And I'm like, no the fuck we don't. Like, I don't have to be her friend. I don't want to be her friend. You're not about to make me be her friend. So we going back and forth, and eventually she gets out of my car and she's still mad at me or whatever, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. So eventually we ended up, no, she out of my car, and I know she went on the phone talk shit about me for the rest of the night. I don't care. But me, I go back to my friend's house and we're picking up on what we did. Like, they asked me, everything okay? Like, is everything all right? And I'm like, honestly, y'all, I don't really want to talk about it no more. She gonna be all right. Let me just put it like that. She gonna be all right. So they like, you know what? I understand. So we all hanging out. We enjoying the rest of the night. Blah, blah, blah. Great time. After that, it was a little weird for a while. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we were not friends for like I feel like a little good amount. A good little amount. And I heard like, you know, because like I would constantly hear about her, like updates about her or whatever, through like my friends, because we still did have the same mutual friends. So I would hear stuff like, you know, I heard she got a new boyfriend, I heard she got a new job. Like, I was hearing things about her, and I liked hearing these things about her because even though I didn't want to be friends with her and I wasn't really fucking with her like that for real, that was still my girl. Like, we grew up together. Like, I want to know that she's doing good. Even now, like, all the shit that they put me through and she put me through and all this, like, all that, like, just all that happened, I still want the best for them. I still would not mind hearing that they're okay. But something recently happened, not too long ago, back in July, where I'm like, honestly, I'm still gonna wish you the best, but I don't want to hear nothing. Like, I low-key just want to erase y'all. Only time I want to bring y'all up is when I'm trying to, you know, because the girlies love the little YouTube, and I love the girlies. I wish I could every girl in the world. Y'all know how it is. Anyways, so we weren't friends for a while. I would hear about her, and I'm sure she would hear about me. And that was pretty much it for a while, until after our friends literally trying their best to convince me to be friends with her. And like, you know, I really did start to miss her, because I'm not playing when I tell y'all, like, we spent a lot of time together. We went through a lot of stuff together. Like, that was my girl. So eventually, after like a handful of months, I was like missing her heavy and like hardcore. And like I mentioned before, I hate anything negative, anything sad, anything negative, anything angry, blah, 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 blah. So I was still feeling these, like, not negative, but like, you know, these sad feelings about how we ended things or our past relationship or whatever. And I, on New Year's Eve, I believe, was it New Year's Eve? I don't know if it was. I know it was around New Year's. Maybe like a few days before New Year's or like a few days after New Year's. I remember it was around that time. No, it was before New Year's, because I remember sending her this really long paragraph, pretty much like, hey, I know we haven't talked in a while, but, you know, I'm going to pull it up because I'm about to read it. Because they got me blocked and all that, but, you know, I could still see the messages and all that. And that's another thing. Like, this happened back in 2020. We have not been friends since 2020. Me, her, or Cheeks have not been in contact or been friends since 2020. Why we still got problems in July of 2022? Because that's another story time I gotta tell y'all, because that was a whole weird situation in itself. Like, they over here bringing in my other friend. We gonna get into that. It was just a mess, okay? But happy birthday, JT. I'm not a city girl, but I'm a hot girl. But, you know, I still love autographs. I love me some JT. What they call her? Carisha. Ain't that her name? Santana be like, Carisha. My brother named Creation. So, Creation. So, anyways, oh Lord, the way I'm reading these texts, and it's like, one of them was like, why would you call the police? And I'm like, girl, because I didn't trust them niggas in that house with you. Anyways, that's another story time, because once she got a boyfriend, I'm telling y'all, her boyfriend was shit. We gonna call him Donkey for another story time. He was a literal ass. Fucking weirdo. Anyways. Like, I'm looking at all this stuff. Like, this girl constantly asks, can you? That's another thing. She was very selfish. Like, she would be highly mad at me if I said no for once. Because I always said yes. I would always do stuff for her. I let her borrow money. I let her, not borrow my car, but I would, like, give her rides and all that. Never give me gas money. Like, I would do a lot for my friends. And I'm not saying that, like, to keep tallies. But, like, if I'm your friend, like, I care about you. If you ask me for a favor and it's not something like too crazy and something I can do in my power, I'm gonna do my best to do it, you know? But, like, she was very selfish. If I asked for a ride, it was like, you got $20 in gas? Bitch, I want to go to the corner store. What you need $20 from me from? Or, I need to borrow $50. And she like, okay, you can borrow 50. Well, no, it was always no. But if she did have $50, she's like, okay, you can borrow $50, but you gotta be giving me back 70 because of the interest. Because I can't just be giving. Like, girl, fuck you. Anyways. So, December 31st of 2019. I wasn't even 19 yet. No, I was 18. So, this all happened when I was 18. I'm sorry, y'all. Correction. So, on December 31st, 2019, at 11:30 a.m., I texted this long... Ooh, hold on. I'm going to have to blur that out. But y'all saw that quick little glance of all that blue. That was me. Because I'm an emotional ass bitch. I love to be happy. I want the people around me to be happy. I love love. I just want nothing but good connections. So I text this girl. I'm mad right now because shit between us... No, because shit has been really shitty between us. And when I said I didn't want to be friends, I still thought we would be cool around each other once we had time to deal with things. Because that's what I really thought. Like, I was like, okay, even though we're not going to be, like, friends ourselves, we could still be cordial because we got a bunch of mutuals. But that's not how it went. Anyways. And this shit has been hard. When I see you, that shit hurts. And holidays we spent with each other over the last year or two, I really wanted to just be mad at you, but now that shit died down, and I'm gonna be honest, I fucking miss you. I also thought once I was done being mad, I could get over you and be cool with being cordial. But fuck all that. I miss you and still love you. I'm mad at myself for even dragging this shit out. But tomorrow will be a new year, and I refuse to bring these feelings in the new year. And no, I'm not doing this just because some new year, new me bullshit. I would like to have another talk, but a real one this time. Because the talk we had in her car was not a real talk. I told her I wanted to have a real talk to get things off my chest, tell her my side of the story and how I feel. But all she did was flip that shit, throw it back on me. So it wasn't even real talk. So I was like, I would like to have another real talk. And this time where I actually express how I feel, because I know I have a hard time doing that. Because I don't like people being upset with me, and I don't like hurting people's feelings. So yes, sometimes I do beat around the bush. I'm a lot better at that now. But yeah. Anyways, so there's this long ass paragraph on how much I love you. I am also sorry how I handled that night with your panic attack. I really did not know what to do or say. After that, she sends me like a text, you busy tonight? And then I end up going to her house, pulling up, and I meet her boyfriend, and then it's more story times from there. So that was pretty much my story time on my friendship with Tikii. And yeah. Oh shit, I forgot that thing was in my ear about to make myself. Hold on, because that was loud. So thank you guys for sitting here. I'm gonna have to edit all of this, but it's been an hour and 12 minutes. I'm gonna have to edit it to where it's like 40 minutes tops. But thank you guys for sitting here with me. I know you haven't seen my face often. You probably don't really see me, but you about to get to know me. We about to become friends. We about to be like that. Okay? You finna be one of the girlies. Cause like I said earlier, I love the girlies. Let's have fun, y'all. Let's share stories. Let's talk about a key about my business. Let's cheese mac, okay? Ain't that how you say it? For all my Hispanic baddies, let me know. It's cheese man. You know, like talking shit. That's how you say it, right? But yeah. Thank you guys. Please tune in for another video, because I would love to talk more, because I have a lot of shit that I've been through, a lot of stuff that I would like to talk about, and y'all should really come back and see that. You know what? I'm not asking. I'm saying. Come back and see me, y'all. All right. Bye, y'all.